Hi guys, welcome to Get Wealthy with me, and we are here again at the AICPA 2026 Symposium in San Diego, California, Kulumi, California, and I'm here with Prudence, and we actually met here, and we've been having great conversations for the past couple of days, and we are bringing her on. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Prudence.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me here.
No problem.
So I'm Prudence Zhu. I'm a CPA, CFP, and also a certified financial therapist. So my journey has been very different. I did my career switch 2 years ago, never regretted it. Previous to my career switch, I did corporate finance and private equity. So it was a long journey in finance, but led to my sweet spot.
Well, you're still in the finance world, but you're just switching your concentration a little bit, right?
Absolutely.
That's what you did to something you're more passionate about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions, and like one of the questions that I'm gonna talk to you about today is, what's one financial myth that you hear and you think is a big issue with social media and in the world these days?
Oh my gosh, this one is so big. I think a lot of times, like I'm an immigrant. When people come to me, they say, "Oh, I admire that you achieved your financial freedom in just like short period of time, and how can I do that?" So right there, I would say the myth is money does not solve all the problems.
Right.
But the underlying skill of getting you rich will actually solve a lot of the problems.
I like that. I like that. I mean, so money is part of the answer, but it's not the answer. Right? That's what I'm hearing you say, and I think that that's actually really good advice, and that's actually been the theme of what our conference is today: is understanding what your goals are. What do you want to use money to accomplish? And that is happiness. So that's like something that's really important to distinguish. And what is financial freedom? Financial freedom is not having enough money. That doesn't mean that you're financially free, because there's lots of people that we know that we think has lots and lots of money, but they don't feel that way.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't make them happy. They're some of the miserable people we see. So we definitely are able to see all these different pictures with all these different dynamics from people in our world, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, money is a magnifier, because a lot of times you think that it can solve your problem. It basically just like defers your problem.
Yep.
But if the underlying cause is not resolved, then it might come up in a bigger and more explosive way.
Exactly. So that's one of the things that I'm doing with my course that I have. The Rich Life Blueprint is understanding that it's a process. So my 3M wealth formula talks about your money motivation, your money motivation, your why. Why do you want this money, and what are your goals for it? You're giving it a job, right?
I love that.
If you don't give money a job, and then your mindset, where is your mind? Does it align with your goal, and how do you shift that? And then we do the mechanics. I don't know if you were in Seth's session, but Seth talked about that. It's, are you the guide as the money person, or are you the mechanic? And I think we are a little bit of both, but the guide is more important.
Absolutely.
The mechanic can be done a lot with technology now.
Why before how?
Yeah, why before how? I like that. That's great. So the other question I want to ask you is, what is the best career advice would you or someone has given to you as a woman in finance?
Yeah, well, this one is a little bit difficult for me to explain, because me personally, I'm a very humble person. I'm the person that, do my hard work and try to excel on things, and then I can stand up and say something when I have something to say. I'm not the person that's like out there and trying to be someone that I'm not. So a lot of times I hear like, fake it till you make it, and that doesn't sit well with me. So I do a little spin on that. It's like, be courageous and step out of your comfort zone. And a lot of times you will receive the feedback that you never imagined, and at worst you'll get a very important experience, and that will set you forward for other new opportunities.
So I like that because, as women, I feel like we also have imposter syndrome where we don't think we're good enough, but we actually are. And that little imposter syndrome that we're feeling is because when we do go out there and be courageous, we're able to see even more of ourselves that, okay, we're courageous and we did something that we weren't really comfortable doing, but how do we know unless we walk into that room and we try it,
Right. Yeah.
So and the next thing I feel like as immigrants, we are more reserved and we're not, openly, our society didn't really tell us to be that open with talking and doing things and, stuff like that. So that's also really hard for us too.
I feel it's like related to portfolio management. It's like how risk averse you are versus
exactly
how willing are you taking risk. But as immigrant, I think most of us are more risk averse and we are less comfortable unless we know what we're expecting. But maybe for 10% of the time, just do a little experiment and step out of the comfort zone and see what happens.
So let's go back to that part about talking about how do immigrants invest and what do they invest in. And I think you and I have had this conversation where as immigrants, land is the universal investor, right? Every single culture you can think about in a gazillion million language, they understand about real estate investing in some way, shape, or form. So that's what immigrants are actually really good at is investing with land. When it comes to the markets, they're not so comfortable with the market.
So it's new to them.
It's new to them. So I feel like as immigrants' families also, it's new to them. And also there was not the availability of them learning as much, right? It wasn't an available thing to immigrant families that you can learn about or you feel open to.
Yeah.
And whereas it is a little more available now. And I feel like that was a whole part of when they build wealth by really depriving themselves. And I'm here to tell you that moderation mentality is how you should go. Yes, you live below your means and you do it, but you don't have to literally scrape the floors. You can enjoy a little bit of your life. Try telling one of our parents that they can enjoy a little bit of their money.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, my parents are retired. It's very painful to tell them they can live a little, but because they lived their entire life so frugally.
Yes.
And now they're like just basically have their blinders on, like keep living frugally. Otherwise, I'm not myself. Otherwise, I'm betraying my upbringing.
Yeah.
But that's not real. It's like if you're not happy doing that, then don't do it.
Yeah.
Once you have the mechanics done and you understand you're in a safe place, then feel free to live a little. And
and I think immigrants are like they thrive in that deprivation mentality. So, and one of the ways that I think can free them up a little bit is they're used to saving, but they're not used to understanding how you can make your money grow and the equity and bond markets and all of the other things. So that's one of the things I feel like introducing that world, it will helps them to grow and make them build their wealth even more because they're used to a lot of them save under their mattresses, So
I just want to mention, like a lot of times people would ask me what was my composition when I built my first million. I would say at that point it was 50-50 in real estate and 50 in equity. Nowadays, a couple of years ago we crossed the 3 million threshold and it was a third in real estate and 2/3 in equity. So right there, you see the rate of return is not the same. Like real estate, you have leveraged return, but equity is in the long run that outperforms.
I have to check my portfolio and see what percentage it is because I'm the same way. Like mine is mostly real estate and equities, and I have to check my percentage now that you talk about that. Like which way I definitely moved more more to the equity side a lot in the last 5 years, especially after COVID. But I don't know if I've moved that much yet. Because in our family dynamics, we're taught real estate, right? So from our generations, we're taught real estate. So of course you're more comfortable doing that than
we can start where we are and then get comfortable and then explore the next thing.
Yes.
Especially if it's proven and has a good track record.
Yes, and you with all of it, you can't really be risk averse because everything is a risk. Even sitting with the money in your mattress, you're actually taking a risk because you're losing it there with the rate of inflation. So understanding compound interest is it's out there. It's for us to understand, but many people don't understand it.
Compounding inflation.
Yeah, compound inflation, exactly. One of the next question I want to ask you is what do you feel the hardest thing about being a woman in finance? What do you see? What do you feel? What are you thinking?
Well, actually, this is not on the personal side. I think the biggest thing is to put our voices out there and demand that our needs are taken care of. So I think the financial communication, whether it's with your parents, with your spouse, with your kids, are so important, and it has to happen more often and more structured and in a more productive way.
What do you feel about being in the field? This is still a male-dominated field. Being a CPA, being a CFP, all the different parts of finance is still very male-dominated. Do you feel that the field is getting more into the middle where
It's not. Sorry, it's not. Look at the statistics. I think women CPA is only 30% and women CFP is 24%, and that's horrible. I don't want that, so I am actively trying to change that.
Yeah.
But we need your help, women accountants, women professionals. I see a lot of career switchers from engineering, from software development, from architect. Out of nowhere, they come to personal finance because it's a wonderful place to be.
It is a wonderful place to be.
You have technical skills and you change your own personal life and career.
It's also very flexible.
Yes.
We're not doing brain surgery, so it's very flexible.
I take 8 weeks off every year.
See? And I want to take 8 weeks off every year, so I'm going to work on that.
That's your next goal.
Yeah, that's my next goal. But I feel like we have to do more in our space to actually fight that battle, because I've seen a lot. I've talked to a lot of women that came before us, and whereas I believe that they just left it there, okay, I'm not being heard, so I'm leaving. And I feel like I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do that because the next girl that comes after me needs to have an easier time than I did. Yeah. And I feel like it's so important for us to address that as a community. Like you said, we have to fight that battle. We have to make it aware, and we have to let people know that what's expected in this field. And it is a great field. One of the things about finance for me is, for the 20 something years that I've been in finance, almost 30 years, I've never had an issue finding a job.
There you go.
It is a very marketable career, and there's so many different aspects of it. That's what makes it marketable. And upward mobility is amazing. We do not have a real cap. Like doctors or other, professions, engineers, those professions have caps, and ours really don't. And, it depends on what part you do and where you do it, and which aspect you go into.
Because even with all the help of software and technology out there, you can be a one-person shop and still make millions. And that's totally, we see those cases in the industry very often.
Yeah, that's what I mean by a cap. Well, thank you so much, Prudence, for being on the podcast. I really enjoyed meeting you, and we're going to stay in touch, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much.